Picture this. It's a crisp autumn evening, and I'm about to share a story that still sends chills down my spine. But before I dive in, make sure you're following for more terrifying tales like this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Last October, my friends and I decided to rent this old cabin deep in the Appalachian Mountains. You know the type: creaky floorboards, musty air, and windows that never seem to keep the darkness out quite right. The owner had given us an oddly specific warning: never open the basement door after sunset. Of course, we laughed it off. Who takes those kinds of warnings seriously anymore? The first 2 days were perfect. Hiking, telling stories around the fire pit, exactly what you'd expect from a cabin getaway. But on the third night, things changed. We started hearing this faint humming coming from beneath the floorboards. At first, it was barely noticeable, like the distant buzz of power lines. But it grew louder, more rhythmic, almost like singing. Sarah, always the curious one, suggested we check the basement. I reminded everyone about the warning, but you know how these things go. Curiosity always wins. As we approached the basement door, the temperature dropped so suddenly we could see our breath. The moment we turned the handle, every light in the cabin went out. Complete darkness. Then we heard it, the sound of something moving up the basement stairs. Not footsteps exactly, more like something being dragged. We ran, all of us, straight out into the pitch-black forest. When we finally made it back to our cars, Sarah was missing. We called the police, launched a search party, the whole 9 yards. They found her 3 days later, walking along the highway 20 miles away. Here's the thing, though. Sarah doesn't remember anything from that night, nothing at all. But sometimes when we're together, I catch her humming this strange, familiar tune, the same one we heard coming from that basement. To this day, I keep wondering about what really happened in that cabin. The owner has since taken down the listing, and no one's been allowed to rent it since. Some locals say they still hear singing coming from those woods on particularly dark nights. If you want to hear what happened when I went back to investigate 6 months later, make sure you're following. That story, well, that's even more terrifying than this one. Remember, folks, sometimes those old warnings exist for a reason. Stay safe out there and never ever open a basement door after dark.